Welcome to MentorTime. Today is getting it done using these free tools. A month or so ago, I decided that I was tired of the word accountability because it feels helpful, but sometimes it also feels threatening. It's really about getting things done, and that's what we want help with. And here are the way we're going to talk about these today. We're going to quickly look through the first part of it, which is defining efficiencies and accuracy. What do these tools give you? Basically, those two things. Then we're going to actually go through them. And for each one, I will tell you and show you examples of how I use them and what you may want to do with them. And as always, I always end with a section on what does this mean for you? But in this case, excuse me, what should you do? So we'll get started with efficiencies and accuracy. Two ways I want you to think about this. One is saving brain power and time. That's the efficiency part of it. So anything that helps us take away repetition and having to do things the same way all the time. That's why people now like ChatGPT. It takes away some of the routine things. But the other part of it in getting it done is accuracy. And it's funny, probably you're thinking, why did she pick a glue stick? The reason is that accuracy is the thing that we have to aim for each time we repeat something over and over again. And when you repeat something over and over again, repetitiveness sticks. So when you do an intro, if you do it the same way, whether you say the exact same words or not, if you do it the same way, people come to associate you with that. For you and the other person, these are efficiencies of time, of brain power, but also of getting your message out there in the best way you can. So I want to go over these 5 areas of things that tools that I'm going to recommend that are all free. But first, grab either your phone, a piece of paper, a Post-it, something you can write on, because I want you to take notes of what you think might work for you. I'm not asking you to promise to do this, but at the end, I'm going to ask which one or ones resonate for you so that you can begin to then got a little call to action of what I'd like you to do. All right, so let's get started with shortcuts. And when we talk about getting it done, shortcuts saves us time. I love the idea of Text Expander. That is a tool. It does have a free version. I didn't find it all that flexible. So I immediately went and looked for a free version, which is TextBlaze. Now, Text Expander and TextBlaze work on an abbreviated word or a couple letters that will automatically fill in text for you. It's frustrating to me that it's very difficult when you're in a Zoom meeting. They don't do the job they do. But what I discovered about TextBlaze and this repetitive typing is it's browser-based. I also can do a dashboard on my PC. But I use it for common things I write a lot. And you can see on the left all of the sample snippets that I've created for a lot of different things. I'm going to show you the 2 most common things I do with it, meaning I use it almost daily. The first is meeting intros. And on the right-hand side, you can see different versions of intros that I've written. Some I use when I'm in the data visualization course that includes the retired program evaluator. The one at the bottom, I'm more likely to use for general meetings. So here was a meeting I was in. It wasn't something that I wanted to mention the pom-poms. So I just said where I'm from, that I'm happy to connect, and my LinkedIn URL. Just having the LinkedIn URL to cut and paste is very helpful. And almost always someone in a meeting will ask me, Sue, how did you do that so quickly? Because someone leading the meeting will say, put your information in and let's connect. Welcome, Nada. Great to have you here. We're just started with the first tool, so it's great to see you. The second way that I use it at least once a week, because I'm editing videos, is you'll see this program later, Descript. But in Descript, you edit by using words. And so even though I didn't say these words today at the beginning of this, when I edit this video to share with you all to put captions in, I can insert from my standard text in TextBlaze, which is a whole lot of spaces, capitals, saying all video captions are auto-generated, a few more spaces. I insert it there and it shows up on screen. It shows up on screen briefly. So it saves me, all I have to do is go open TextBlaze, copy it, cut and paste it in there, and it's done. Could I type it myself? Yes. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. Will it look the same each time? No. So it saves me time and accuracy. All right. Second thing, save almost anything. A year and a half ago, when we started the course, the professional presence course. I was having trouble in step 4 with people following the instructions to show me their before LinkedIn profile, because the fourth step is LinkedIn. You're using your LinkedIn profile for visibility. And I wanted them to track their changes and then show me what they had after. So I searched around and found a browser-based program called Go Full Page, which is incredibly easy to do. When you have a web page open here, I press the little camera button on my browser bar of extensions, and this shows you that it's actually copying. It actually looks like the Pac-Man symbol for those of us who are old enough to remember what Pac-Man looked like munching across the screen. It takes a whole web page, huge long web pages, and you can save it as an image or as a PDF file. I chose Ron to use your profile because it can't take a picture of my own profile the way, unfortunately, the way LinkedIn has them, but you can see. And what this gives me when I work with people on their visibility, I can show them what a fully filled out LinkedIn profile might look like, because mine has a lot more stuff in it, so it's tinier than Ron's, who's deliberately chosen not to add a whole lot to his, which again is fine. But it saves me a lot of time. It makes it consistent, and it also is something that I can now remove that instruction from the course book and the curriculum so that people don't have to go take screenshots of their before. Another way I used it recently, I had to share something that I had done promoting on social media, something for the University of Rochester, because I was going to be doing an introduction for the dean of the School of Nursing, and I wanted to show them how I would consider, how I'd like to be able to promote that before I did it. So I could have taken a screenshot, but it was very difficult to get this all in one screen because it was a post plus comments, and Go Full Page allowed me to do it. Then I found someone's web page and I thought, oh, I'm in the middle of a web page revamp. Actually, the web page, the first time I've ever had a website. I thought, oh, I'm going to just copy Heather's, and I just did Go Full Page, and you can see she has several different screens that show up under her website. And finally, I had to send something to Canada, and I needed to get an online form done to go to the post office in the US. And so I found out I could fill it in online, and I thought, this is great. I'll take a picture of it in case they don't know what it is when I got to the post office. They didn't know what it was, but they were able to scan the barcode. So these are all the ways that I use it, at least every week, if not daily. And again, and I find it very lightweight. All of these programs are not either intensive in my browser or intensive on my PC. All right, now we're up to the third category. And I'm calling these branding updates because there's updates meaning small opportunities to have a big impact. You may know about Linktree. Some people use it, some don't, but Linktree, and I'll show you Bitly next. These are both places where you can make a nice looking mobile, this is mobile web page, in this case for Linktree. It gives me the chance to put a little bit of a headline in. I chose a different photo from what I have on LinkedIn. I was able to feature LinkedIn as the one that I want people to click on, but it also has all of the different icons for anything else. I don't put Facebook up there because I don't want to do it, but you can add your email. And you can see at the bottom, I believe, that it's an easy URL, linktr.ee/Sue Griffey. Bit.ly, which I've used for many years as a URL shortener, has a branding package now. And on the right-hand side, you can see what mine looks like on Bit.ly. So Bit.ly allows me to put more text and define what each of the links that you might want to click through are. So if you have LinkedIn, if you have Threads, if you want to use Facebook, if you are using Insta, here's a way to give everybody that information and just use one short URL. I made mine a little bit longer. In Bit.ly, you can make all sorts of things very short. So again, something that will help you brand. And I know there's at least one person that's been through the course with me recently, excuse me, who knows that I recommend Profile Maker. It's absolutely free. It's been out for almost 2 years now. You upload a photo. So the photo that you see on the right, the big headshot on a gray background, I uploaded that. And then on the far right, you can see I used Go Full Page to see how many different choices Profile Maker will give you of different backgrounds, as this woman's face is featured here in their opening screen, their landing page. So here's the ones that I felt I was most likely to use. And what you can see is that there are a lot of different backgrounds that give you different options of how you want to feel, how you want to match things. For me, the reason I wanted to get rid of the gray background, which is what I'll remind you what I started with, was although it had good lighting on it, I just didn't like it. And because it's against my dining room wall, it has a chair rail, which I never thought about, and it just looked awkward. So I ended up with the picture is right next to the one that's actually on my LinkedIn and a couple other web places that I have, where I just put behind it, I think it's a blurred office setting, but you can see the other ones. All of them add light to your face. And if you want to see more versions of it, some of the course participants have used this and are willing to let me share that as well. It really can lighten up your face dramatically. You can choose the kind of brand color you want to be associated with, or something that matches your shirt, maybe. Just again, something interesting to play with to get different looks behind you. On to number 4. This is one of the tools, one of the areas that I'm a little out of date on, as you'll see, maybe you will see, because you're seeing my actual hard drive. The way in which you keep your files organized is important, because nowadays, most of us find things not by going to a tree menu, like the left-hand side, but we just search for the file name. And if you're not careful, like I haven't been lately, I went looking for something today, and all I could remember is the only thing that seemed unique in it was CV. And you can imagine doing the work that Ron and I do with mentoring. We're getting things from people all the time saying C, capital C, capital V. So I use 2 tools here. Advanced Renamer. It's a batch renamer. This is the screen that they give you. It looks a little 1990s for those of you who are used to older Windows programs. But here's an example. I took a trip to Nepal, and on June 13th, we had several different things we did. And the only way to keep them in order for my order of how I want to be able to share them was to use an AM and PM designation and then use the number and after that, so what time of day we were doing it. But all the files, this is what Advanced Renamer looks like for me. The file name on the left-hand side with all the blue check marks, that's how it came in. It comes in with the date and the time so that you could see how many were being taken. But I have 3 things I use all the time in Advanced Renamer: add something to it, replace something, or remove something. And it does this in a bulk fashion. So I wanted to add PM space 4 ahead of the new file name. And you can run a batch and get everything renamed all at once. You can do this for folders as well. It's phenomenal if you need consistency in naming, and most of us do and should make the habit of. It's free. I think I've given them a donation of $20 once. I don't remember. I try to every so often. Same thing with this program, Free File Sync. I've given them a donation, but I use them a lot. This is a way to keep your files synchronized. And you'll hear at the end, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about making sure you protect your intellectual property, which is your files on your hard drive, the information on your phone. Free File Sync lets you follow the 3-2-1 rule. 3 copies of every file. The first one on your hard drive, the second one on a portable hard drive near you, close to you, meaning you keep it attached and do that. And then one offsite location is the third place that you put files. I use Free File Sync to do one-way synchronization from my hard drive to the hard drive, the portable hard drive, so that I don't have to worry about what's matching and what doesn't. I just keep the latest copy of all of my stuff there. But I also know that I have older versions of it in case I need to go back to it. All right, and now we're on the 5th of the categories. Editing or adapting images and videos. This is mostly video, but it also works thinking about it for images. I know this is going to seem funny. Sue, make and edit a GIF. How often am I going to do this? The reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm noticing over and over again, even from people who should know better, that they're all using GIFs that are made from movies, from cartoons, from TV shows, and not realizing that when we do this, we're all in copyright violation. Even if it's just a 2-second GIF, it's a copyrighted product, and it doesn't come at the bottom with, oh, this is from Clueless, the movie Clueless, scene whatever. You can make your own GIF, and it's easy to do. You can make them in PowerPoint. You can make them with images. But what I love about Screen to GIF, totally free, very lightweight. You install it on your hard drive. You can pop up and you can record a GIF there. I use it for editing. So I put in this, I think it's a 10-second video of me waving my pom-poms around. 10 seconds is too long to make a GIF out of, but you can see the yellow highlight at the bottom left of the screen. I can edit it by removing frames and then play it back and see if it's going to look like a GIF. And I did. I got it from 10 seconds. I think this is 2 or 2.2 seconds or something. And this is a GIF I can now use. I've been encouraged by someone who helped me first do this when she suggested I make a pom-poms of me, to think more about, okay, what do I want to use a GIF for? And sometimes you'll see in LinkedIn posts, I will put a GIF of rolling through screen files. For example, I think I did that for something I was doing a LinkedIn post on. The second program is free. It's limited in your free version, but if you don't edit videos very much, feel free to get the free version, but try it out. This has revolutionized my ability to edit video. Ron knows, ever since I met Ron, I've been frustrated that I cannot teach myself to edit video very well I've tried probably 15 different free programs, all the way from OBS Studio to small little Screencast-O-Matic. I do okay at it, but not great. With Descript, I can edit words. I go into the file. Here's the MentorTime I did a few weeks ago, the quarterly changes we talk about in work. First of all, it takes out my filler words. So when you listen back to it, I sound a lot better than sometimes when I'm presenting and I get excited and tripping over my tongue and making a lot of ums and ahs. And that's what in yellow there. You can see on the right side where the video actually shows you with the captions that I can put in, which is the other reason I use Descript. The captions don't show my ums and ahs like I just did. It'll take them out and make a nice, beautiful video. But I can also edit the middle of a video and take out times when I coughed, like today. I can edit the beginning and end. There's a lot more I could do, but I don't know how to do it easily. But it's fun to play around with. You can see on the right, when you search for filler words, it shows you things like duplicate words. Sometimes I want duplicate words. I was saying something 3 times and it flagged 2 of the times as filler words. But no matter how you use it, just know that there's very flexible ways to use it. I can actually move text around and get the sound in different order. For example, if I said, oh, let me tell you about 1, 2, 3. And then I talked about number 1 and 3, and then said, oh, I forgot number 2 and talked about 2. I could go and actually manually move that around in Descript and put it in where it goes. All right. Sue, but where's the to-do list? That's one of the best free tools. I can tell you, I have tried every free tool for to-do lists, everybody's advice, everybody's ideas of the best way to capture to-dos. And the reason that I don't have a recommendation is it's never worked for me to have a to-do list. I used to have a yellow pad of paper that had to-do stuff on it that I just never paid attention to. I have a whole lot of stuff on my hard drive labeled to-do lists when I think I'm getting more organized. So whatever works for you may not be what works for me. What works for me is what I'm doing tomorrow morning when I get up at 5 a.m. I may not be up at 5 a.m., but those are things that I know are my tasks. I don't color them differently. I just put them there and deal with some of them during the day. And other times I move them to a day later. Sometimes I'm moving them 2 and 3 weeks later. But it's things that I know I want to do, or they fall off my list. So I didn't tackle the idea of what the best to-do list is because everybody's got a different way of thinking about it. Briefly, before we finish, I'm going to tell you about 2 paid tools because this goes along with the idea of making sure that you're protecting your intellectual property on your hard drives. These are paid tools, although so the goal is that every device you have is backed up somewhere. And I was surprised. Oh, I was actually going to show you. I had a couple threads comments from someone who's really well known in LinkedIn who lost his entire hard drive and had never kept it backed up, did not have Dropbox, had nothing. And on day 6, the experts still couldn't recover anything from his. I was horrified that he lost it. Dropbox has a free tier, 2 gigabytes. I filled that up really pretty quickly. I've always had a paid account for a long time now. But Dropbox allows me to synchronize where I am upstairs and where I am downstairs. But also, like yesterday morning when we were traveling and we met with one of our nieces, and I said to her, look, here's the last time we saw you. We were trying to figure out when Angie and Keith's wedding was. I pull up Dropbox on my phone. I can find my stuff if I've labeled it correctly with advanced renamer. I don't remember what the 2 terabyte cost that I pay right now is. I think it's $100 a year. It's more than worth it for me. But consider doing something that gives you some access, not just when you're in front of your computer, but has access on your phone. And I know there are other programs that may do that. The second, this is only available for the iPhone. I'm sure that Google's got something in the Android universe, but I use a program called iMazing. I bought a license for it. I think it was $49 for a permanent license. You can download, you can see on the screen that they show on their landing page, you can download everything from your phone. I got all my text messages in an Excel file. I also got them in a PDF format with the pictures attached, the dates, the times. I needed some of this because there was some discussions and arguments about memories, and I had to prove that we had done something in the correct order. It also will get your contacts off there. I can't tell you how many people tell me they only have their contacts on their phone. I have mine backed up to Google through a program that I also use that I didn't bring up today. If you're interested, just email me and I'll send you the name of it. But protect yourself even if you have to pay for it so that you're not at risk of losing your intellectual property. All right, what should you do? We had 5 categories, and I don't know what's going to help you. That's why I asked you at the beginning. What I'd like you to do is put in chat real quickly. Tell me either the program or the area that you think you might want to try out. And let me know if you want to give yourself a deadline, and I'll be happy to check in with you on that deadline. So go ahead. I'll give you a few minutes in the chat. Ron, up to you too. If you want to try any of these out, you could let me know. Go full page. I love that. Yes, it's one of my go-tos.
Yeah, it seems to me that there is a browser limitation. I had a look into doing that, and I think there's a browser issue there that I crammed into, and I haven't done anything about it since.
I use it in Chrome, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it's Chrome. I think it's Chrome dependent.
Okay, yeah.
And I use another browser.
All right, Nada, you want to do Profile Maker? Great. Peter's going to look at Text Blaze and HDD organizing. Great. Carrie, great. Text Blaze and Profile Maker. Abby, Text Blaze. Amanda, good. Branding, that'll be great for you. Profile Maker, yep. And the Evergreen advice. Great. And I actually want to find more to share with you all because I'm all about free for sure. Anybody, Ron, any comments from you? And then we'll open it up to anybody else who has.
Yeah, one of the, other than the browser based on some of them, like you indicated, for example, iPhone, it's only available on iPhone type products and so on. And then you get some that are browser based as well. That can be a challenge. But one thing that it's interesting when you talked about the to-do list, that's one of my most favorite areas to try and manage. And so I actually think go to an advisor. And for me, it was Stephen Covey. And he has a whole book that talks about how to get yourself organized. And it starts with how you plan your weeks and so on. And he's not a fan of to-do lists. And so what it's really about is what you do, Sue, is you make appointments with yourself. And the idea would be to make appointments over the period of a week. And that is his advice. And so there's no technology other than whatever your planner is. Use your planner well, but plan it with thinking in bigger terms rather than just how to get this done today. And so that would be the only other additional.
Thank you. That's helpful. Yeah. And there used to be huge Covey notebooks, but I think those have gone by the board.
You could buy they did have a product that was a day planner type product for the computer. And that's essentially what it was, just a scheduler and so on. But it had some things that you could do. One other element, oops, I lost it. I'll get back to you on.
Okay. Nada wants to, you use Google Calendar and it's, for her to-do list and reminders. Great. Anybody else have any questions or comments on this topic? Go ahead and unmute.
Sue,
yeah.
You mentioned that the person that had their files lost. I had a hard drive fail. It was my external drive, and I lost a lot on it. None of it was super important, but also all of it I would have liked to keep. And some of it was past reports from various jobs and things, and like thinking about, okay, what if somebody ever asked to see this as a writing sample or something like that? I lost some of that and just shrugged it off. But at my last job we used OneDrive to sync all the files. That was fantastic for work. And I definitely want to get something to do that for me for home, which I've used Google Drive for some of that. It's good, but a little bit limited in space. But yeah, those kinds of things are so useful and just really good as a tool that can really keep you from losing stuff and being able to keep working from device to device.
Thanks for the reminder about OneDrive. I don't use it. I've just been reading and hearing on tech stuff, more and more people are back to using it because Microsoft's put a lot more effort into it and it's more flexible than it used to be. Ron, you had something you want to say?
Yeah, actually, it was Peter's comment that reminded me. It was about backing up. And so I actually use a product, like I use a Norton product, which does backup. But then the 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte drives now are essentially free. They're really cheap. And you now can even get large thumb drives that can do 1 or 2 terabytes. So I back up that way. And that really proved important to me when I was in Mexico staying for the winter. And my computer decided to fail. The drive decided it was in the process of failing. So I had to restart everything. And unfortunately, I always carry my backup drive with me. So I was able to recover. But then I found out one little secret is that the backup program was not capturing my email. And so anything that was in my email did not get recovered. And so I had all my files, all the important stuff that Peter was talking about, all got recovered, and it was great. But then there was a whole segment of my emails that I had downloaded to the computer, and all the rest of it did not happen. So I now manually add an extra step, which is I go find where that is and just copy it over to that drive. So it's an extra step. It's annoying. It would be great if the backup program would work that way, but it doesn't. But I also like the idea of the Dropbox adding syncs, and I like the idea of your sync programs. It reminds me of Briefcase. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I use Briefcase as my primary syncing tool, and I would put everything in the briefcase and move the briefcase over to a drive, and that synchronized everything. It was easy to use and, of course, useless today.
Yeah, you and I go back a long way. Carrie asked about if all the tools are on Chrome. The ones that are browser-based, I chose to continue to use Chrome because I really didn't like Bing, although its latest iteration is supposedly quite good. I was really annoyed with Edge and Bing and Microsoft. So it's possible these tools are also available in other browsers. I don't know, but try them out and see. And again, decide which ones are important to you. And maybe you use Chrome if you really want go full page, for example. Anybody else have any comments? Questions? All right, then we will just quick check in with anybody. We have a couple minutes if someone has a question or a comment they want to make before I ask Ron to close the meeting.
Sue, I had somebody on the IRB board who mentioned a really good return to work article. It ended up being out of the UK, but I sent it to you. I just thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, thank you for sending it. I realized after I wrote and said I'd keep it, I am going to try to I will send it around to everybody who's on the regular appointment. So if you've signed up for a recurring appointment, you're on the list to get the recordings, even if you don't make the meetings every week. And right now we have 28 or 30. So Amanda, that'll put you on the list because I know this is your first time if you're interested. So I'll send that around along with, I didn't put in all the links today. They're all at the bottom of each screen, but I'll send the links in an email so you can just click on them. Most of them are easy, bit.ly. You can almost type them all because they're very short. Companies have gotten very smart about naming their products with a very small URL. Thanks, Stephanie, for reminding me to mention that. And Ron, if you'll go ahead and close the meeting, please.
Yeah, thanks everyone. No, we had a good group here today, and so thanks everyone for attending, and thank you, Sue, for all the hard work you put into it. I've seen you use some of these products before, and I've always envied your facility with doing it. I do like that you're editing with the Descript, and I've yet to try that out. So thanks very much for sharing all these different ideas. They're excellent to look at. I've kept the list myself, and I reminded myself. So thanks very much on behalf of everyone here. And everyone, we're meeting again next week.
Where are we? I realized I haven't sent out the November registration topics list.
Oh, okay. I thought we were meeting next week.
Oh, no, we are. Sorry.
Yes, it's the 30th or something like that.
Yes, I'm way ahead of myself. Stephanie was asking me about last week, and I was like, no, yes, we're meeting next
so
week.
we are meeting next week on
Thank
the 30th.
goodness for Ron.
I'll hopefully we'll see all of you next week. And especially Sue, you better show up.
This time for sure I will.